Thank you for watching Hack the File. I'm Michael Lopez, and on today's episode, we're going to be going over the Kali Linux for Beginners book. Enjoy. All right, we're back. I haven't looked at this book in about a year. I was looking at my stuff, but I seem to remember doing a password cracking video or something, but apparently I can't find it, so I might have. They either YouTube took it down or I never published it. I don't know, but um, this book is. Oh, and this is my new download. Oh, this is my new library for my PC. The new Kindle app, or it's not new, but I've been using a different one, and I like this one way better. Like this one is. I can actually copy and paste from here. So see how I can copy and I could scan the book and all kinds of stuff. It's really awesome, and it's gonna help. Like if I have code in books where I need it, I don't feel like typing it. I can just copy and paste. Oh man, it's gonna be awesome. So I'm excited. Um, all right. So this book, if you guys don't remember, I was reminded by one of my subscribers saying that it was a good book. This is it basically goes through all the installed hacking tools one by one um, that are installed in Kali Linux. It tells you what they are and it tells you kind of how to use them. But it's an introduction, okay? So it's not like a what do you call it? Um, a real complete guide to each tool. It's just an introduction to it and how to get started on it, and then you need to go in and mess with it and if you really like that one and that tool or something, and then get real good at it. So we're gonna go through this password cracking section, right? And it's gonna show me some of the password cracking tools that Kali Linux has. The thing is that we're gonna have to figure out. Well, like John the Ripper right here, they want us to download, this John the Ripper, or yeah, John the Ripper for Windows, right? Which is more practical because if you're cracking passwords, you're most likely going to be in Windows, right, environment. So which makes sense, but I'm not going to download this. I tried before. I do remember that, and so you click on that and it takes you to this open wall, and Windows. They want you to do Windows Hash Suite, right? Which is cool, but from this repository, um, my computer doesn't like it, right? It's saying that it might have a virus, and I'm not risking it, right? Just to get hashed up. So I'll find a better source, and then it has you crack it or try to crack the hash dump, right? It's a hash text file. And if you don't know what a hash file is or something like that, you need to Google it. Um, it's basically passwords that are encrypted, right? But they're hashed, and just Google what hash is versus encryption or whatever. Um, they they have us do that with John the Ripper, but we're not going to do it. But we can read it, right? I know it's disappointing, but I'm not gonna. I tried to, and I gotta find a different site for this. I gotta find a different site for the Windows John the Ripper program, right? All right, so let's just get started. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go through this section and we're gonna try to do as much as we can, right? All right, so let's see where's my Kindle. Okay, all right, so let's get started. So, password cracking. Passwords are a very common way of securing digital information in accounts. A password is a sort of secret code or word used for user verification to gain access to personal information. In this section, we're going to cover ways to use Kali Linux tools to crack passwords. We can define password cracking as the art of recovering passwords from previous stored locations and formats. For this section, we are going to cover the common set of tools for password cracking using Kali Linux. They include John the Ripper, Medusa, Hydra, Crunch, Rainbow Crack, and John the Ripper. So, John the Ripper is a popular open source password cracking tool from Rapid7 class family. John the Ripper supports brute forcing, dictionary, and single crack attacks. It automatically detects password flaws to make the computer system vulnerable. You can learn about John the Ripper from the resource below. Open wall John, blah, blah, blah. In this example, we're going to extract Windows passwords stored in the SAM database or the SAM database. Follow the steps below. So we're not gonna, like I said, we're not gonna do this. Yeah, but you download, and here's I can give you if you guys want to pause it and get that URL. It's at openwall.com. Passwords window pwd dump. That's fine, and you're probably going to want to do the Windows hash suite right here, right? Free or $39.95. So they're trying to sell some. I don't know. Navigate to the extracted directory and enter in the command pwdump.exe. So you're just starting it, and then so you're getting the hash file that has hashed passwords, and then it's going to crack it. Okay, I have to find another way to do that, but that way we're not going to do. So if you want, you can look up some ways to do that. And all you need to do really is that you can even do it in Linux. Just see if you can find some Linux hash files, right, or some password files that are hashed, and see if you can do some research on that, and then crack. Live long and prosper. Yes, Spock, and then crack them with the Linux. If you don't want to do Windows, you could do Windows too. If you can get a better source for that, you'll be fine for that application. You'll be fine. All right, let's move on to Medusa. Medusa is a networking password cracking tool that provides modular and parallel brute force. Medusa supports a wide range of protocols such as Telnet, SSH, Postgres, SQL, MySQL, etc. It requires a target IP address, username, password, and password lists. It offers a command line interface. You can launch it by entering the command Medusa in the terminal, which returns a list of possible commands. How to use Medusa to crack usernames and passwords for FTP protocol. File transfer protocol. It's just a protocol that, remember, it communicates from device to device. Let's look up an example of how to use Medusa to crack usernames and passwords for FTP protocol. Medusa.h, and then here's your IP that you're attacking. Then -u password username.txt. Path to password username.txt. Once the tool finds a matched username and password, it appears and displays below. So, let me see how we can do this. So it needs a username and password, right? And you're probably going to give it its username first. Okay, look at the example to see how to use Medusa. And that's an FTP protocol, so what? Oh man, which one should I do? Should I do my Metasplittable? Let's see if we can simulate this somehow. So go to my Metasploitable and see if I'm sure the FTP protocol is open. So should just be FTP. What would yeah, MSF admin, MSF admin. Okay, let's see if we can do that. So let's move this over and let's go to Medusa. So here is where all the tools are, right? So Medusa, there's Medusa, right? There it is. It's running, but what did it give me? Medusa version 2 point something, blah blah blah. Host information must be supplied. Okay. All right. So let's see. Here's my Metasploitable. Here's okay. Let's see what its IP is. That what it is? Okay, so it's all right. Let's see. What am I doing? ifconfig. Yeah, that's not that. What is that? Misadmin. Let's restart this. Oh man, machine. We'll reset this. I don't know what's going on. Metasploitable network. Oh, that's why. Shit. It's on a private network or something. Okay, from that last thing I did, I had them all on private networks because we were running a let me reset this. All right, so let's get a a new document. And let's call it password. Let's open this up, and it's most likely going to be the username. Just call John. Password 12345, and then we'll do Mike. Happy, and then we'll do the rest. MSF admin. MSF admin. So it's gonna check those username, then password, I guess. I don't know, and then we'll look up the help on this, and then MSF admin, right? Then it'll finally hit it and show me what the password is. I think that's how Medusa works. I don't know. I've never used Medusa. I don't think so. If I have, I haven't used it in a while. Obviously. Alright. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so what is this IP? That doesn't look better. What is that? Just want to Net Discover. Sudo Kung Fu. Alright, so one. Why is there two? That's weird. Alright, let's see what this Metasploitable is. MAC address. A6. It's this one. Why is there two with the same IP? 06B3. Which one is that one? That's not on. Right now, I'm just checking the MAC addresses on these. They're not lining up. I don't know what this is. Huh. Let's see. B3786. B3786. Okay. Alright. That's fine. Let's see if we can. So basically, I looked up and I found my Metasploitable IP because something's going on. I don't know. Anyways, I did a project before, a video before, where I put these on like private networks and stuff. So it's gonna be kind of wonky. All right. So let's look at this and see what it says. Now I'm going to run it, and then I'm just going to put the paths and stuff. So actually, I'm going to clear that. Oh man. What was that? Why did I have 3 of these open? Alright, I need that one. So this one's a Medusa. Alert, host information must be supplied. Syntax: Medusa, host, H file, username, U file, password, file. Okay, so it uses 2 different files. Target host name or IP address. Oh, hold on. Okay, so we're going to do the -H. And then we'll have the address. Or we could use a file. But we're just going to do that with the IP -U. File containing usernames to test. Okay. Password to test. So this is going to have 2 different files, I think. Yeah, it is. So let's do and this is the we're gonna save this as username. Okay, so here's a bunch of different usernames. And if you were doing, let's say you were doing reconnaissance, right? And you were trying to target, let's say you were spearfishing, right? If you don't know what that is, Google it. And you wanted to, you did reconnaissance on this person, and you had all the information you wanted, and you were like, all right, so what would they probably use as a username? You're probably going to add a bunch of usernames in here. They also have like RockU file text that has a bunch of usernames and stuff, but this is all I would say, you know, um, chance or due diligence, right? So you're gonna do this RockU, and it's basic. This RockU file has like 5 million usernames and passwords that were stolen. Um, yeah, I think the way, I don't know if Medusa you can do two files, one file. I don't know, but anyways, um, it's kind of old too, but but people don't change. It's got the same, like vulnerable usernames and passwords that people still use, like love and hate or 1 2 3 4 5 and just password, and all this stuff, right? And it'll run those. But if you've done reconnaissance and you're like attacking somebody, and you know more information about them than Rocky Pass, you're specifically than Rocky Password would, um, or Rocky.txt would. I'm sorry. Then you're gonna build your own uh, username and password list, right? Okay. So let's create another one, and I'm gonna do passwords. Just call it passwords. Didn't I save that? Oh, let me delete that. Open that up, and then we'll do so MSF admin. I'm sorry, we're gonna let it run for a little bit. So took, happy, love, hate, sax, I think was one. It's like one of the top ones. People were using that. And MS admin, right? Save, close. So it's gonna run those. This is open up a different text editor when I do it. Almost the same. I don't know why it looks like that. Okay, so now we have our two different username passwords, and that's what it says there. Username, name of the module to execute without the .mod extension. Okay, so we're not going to use that. Dump all known modules. So this is for using a module, I guess, from. Does it have its own modules? I don't know. That's the whole point of this book. If you like Medusa, use Medusa. Read more about it. Get into your .h file, or like right here, and read more about it. But it's basically telling you how it works, and I'm missing some parameters. So you got to run Medusa dash H is what we're going to use, right? Because that's what the target host name is up there. So dash H, and then it says it needs a text right there. So text is going to be the text is going to be this. Now I checked the Mac file with this virtual machine, and yeah, it's that. So 192, and this is my Metasplitable server. right? And I know what I can't do is I can run a scan, but I already know that its FTP on this is vulnerable, right? Okay, Medusa. What else does it say to do? No, it says it needs to pat. Oh, U file containing. Okay, so now we're gonna do dash big U, right? Because we need the file, the usernames to test. So what we can do is this is home. It's at home, right? So what I like to do is I just go here, and then I'm sorry, I open up a terminal here, and then I say pwd, like where am I? And I just take that, right? Uh, did not work. Place clipboard. Desktop slash, what is this? Usernames. Yeah, usernames. Is it doc text? It's just usernames. We can save it as a dot text. Okay. I don't know. I don't think you need to put dot text, but this might have to put dot text. Okay, so usernames dot text, it's text file. Um, then P space P is where it's a file. Oh, see, that's a text file. Oh no, it's text. Okay. File. Where is it? P file containing passwords to test. Oh, to test. Okay, so dash P, little P, big P. Which one? Password to test. Wait a minute. Big P, little P. It's gonna be big P. Yeah, big P. Because we want to do a file. We don't want to do one password, right? And then we're gonna get the same path. Slash PASS word text. And then, so now the username, name of module to execute without the dot module. So the module will be the module. So, okay, so it's module dash M, right? And then FTP. So here, the modules could be dump all modules. Yeah, but where's the FTP module? So you just type in FTP. Okay. Does it give you a list of modules? Huh. So it just says in the books put FTP. Smart. All right, let's run that and see what happens. Let's see. Medusa failed to open file home. Kali desktop password. No such file directory. Oh, okay, so that directory, I didn't do it right. So probably could just do what's this little squiggly? Let's see if that works. Maybe it doesn't need this .text. Where am I at? I'm already at home, so it doesn't need that. So it just needs Cali. I'm in home Cali already, so it doesn't. It probably just needs desktop, right? Like that. Take this one out too. I don't think it needs that .text. There you go. So I was already in. So I PWD'd it. I was already in my desktop. I mean, I was already in my home Cali's directories right here. See, home, McCallie. So then all I had to do was go from there and say I want to go to the desktop usernames. And I don't think you needed that .text. So now it's trying to crack the password, I guess. So now, yeah, see how it's checking happy took. They found the username already or something? Yeah, that's going slow. Success. Okay, success. It said it found. Account found. FTP host. This host. User. MSF admin. Password. MSF admin. Success. So it cracked it and it found it, right? So that's pretty fun. And the thing is with these kind of password cracking things, I mean that went real slow. Shoot. Um you're gonna wanna know, first of all, you're gonna wanna know the IP, right? Uh and I could go a little bit deeper into um the network, I guess how IP addresses work and why they're assigned and all that stuff. But when you get into networking or cybersecurity, you're gonna understand, right? But pay attention to. My advice would be pay attention to what um, IP addresses are assigned and why they're assigned, and public IP addresses and private IP addresses, right? So your public IP address is something where the devices are assigned a public IP address, right? And anybody on the internet can access them, right? That's what they're for. So they can access the internet and the internet can talk to them, right? That's a public IP address. But then in IP4, if you don't know what that is, Google it. I mean, you're going to learn all this if you do some network research or you go to school, network class, or whatever, right? They only have a certain amount of IP addresses, right? So what they did was they came up with routers that for the private use people are. Yeah, so they have, so your ISP provider, right, is your internet service provider. Um, gives you an IP address, which is your gateway address or whatever, and it just gives you one, because there's only so many amount of them, right? It gives you one, so it gives it to your router, and then your router, I guess, uses I forget which protocol, which um, gives you a private IP address numbers in your network, right? So, with that being said, you gotta know how that works, and then you gotta figure out, okay, so now, what am I using this username and password thing to hack, right? I'm trying to hack into maybe a website, or I'm trying to hack into somebody's network. Everything has usernames and passwords. So, these are the different things that you're going to be using this for, but you have to understand how, I don't know, I'm going to come up with my own concept on how to view it, but I mean it's common sense, but it's not common sense, because people don't understand how IP addresses and all that stuff is assigned. So, um, but you got to think of it as like this: it's like a castle, right? And this is an analogy that they use in school and stuff like that too. But I like that. So you have a castle, and that castle is fortified, right? You have a moat in front of it and all that stuff. It's fortified, and everything behind the castle is your private network, right? Let's say you have a little village in there. It's got a little market and all that. A little market. Like in those movies, the old movies, the medieval movies. Every market and every little stand with the people in it. You can look at those as different devices inside that little castle, which is your own private network, right? Or a company's private network. Then you or a private company is going to have like a server, or or a router, or something like that, that's going to be able to. It's going to be your doorway, because you have to have a door to get in the castle. So the castle door is the only way into your private network and into your castle, or out to the world, which in this case is the internet, right? So how does one person, let's say like the knight, how does he communicate from his castle to the rest of the world, to other castles, right? He has to open his door, and he has to go out back in those days, and he has to like send a messenger or something. So the door opens, it closes behind him, whatever, and then he sends a messenger. Let's just look at the basics of that. Then he gets to another castle, and the other guy says, "All right, is this the right guy?" It's exactly like that, because the people in the castles never trusted anybody, so they go, "Halt! Who goes there?" And he's like, "It's me, from the castle down the road," or whatever. "Oh, we were waiting for you," or "Let me see, prove it." They have to prove it. That's the security part, right? Or whatnot. Anyways, so that's how you got to look at it. So, but in our sense, in the internet only has a certain limited amount as of right now. That's why they're working on IP6. Only have a certain amount of IP addresses, ranges, that they can handle per castle. And I say per castle, it's per device, but I say per castle because somebody figured that we can give the castle an IP address instead of like the castle, the marketplace, and all his other little devices he's gonna have in his private in the castle. They each get their own public IP address, so everybody can they can contact the internet by themselves or whatever. They don't have to go through that door, right? They don't have to go through the castle door. They can just contact everybody on the outside willy nilly from inside the castle. They have their own IP address that has connection to the internet, right? To the outside world. So that would be the equivalent of like saying each in those medieval times, each one of those marketplace people had their own Wi-Fi or something, or had their own telephones to contact. Back then they didn't. They were just marketplace people, and if they wanted to communicate with the outside world, would have to leave through that door, the castle door, right? So that's a good way to look at it. Anyways, so you give them one IP address. I mean, I guess you can, in companies they can get more, right? They can have more, but usually residents only have one for their the ISP gives them one for their router, and that's it. Then the router delegates a private network, right? So, anyways, I mean, this it's a lot more complicated and stuff, but that's the basic gist of it. So you got to think in terms of when you're using this kind of software, right? Is it really going to be effective unless you do some reconnaissance on it? I don't think so, because you're let's say you're trying to open somebody's castle door. Let's say it's a company or whatever, and you're doing pen testing. In pen testing, ethically, they're gonna give you an IP range, right? Because they want you to test their system. They're gonna assume already that a hacker got their IP to their server to their castle door already, or something like that, right? And then so they're gonna assume that right off the back. No, well, that's not reality, right? I mean, that doesn't. It's kind of like saying, I can show you kung fu, but I can only tell you kung fu. I can only show you the kung fu that I know, that's not that I don't have experience with or something, right? It's like, what the hell are you talking about? So you're gonna, it's kind of like you can't have experiences without actually having the experience. You gotta swim, you gotta jump in the water to swim and all that stuff. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I don't like it. That's why they're gonna skip out. They're gonna assume that you already have access to their network, right? That's how it works. So people don't realize that, and it's kind of like, okay, but then um, I want to try to hack your network. I want to get that IP. I want to do that first step, and that's where the experience and all that stuff comes. But the thing is that it's illegal, right? You can't do that, right? But I mean, even maybe pen testers, they'll do that. The companies will say, look, we're not giving you anything. Have at us. See if you can do it, and maybe they do it like that too. I'm sure they do, right? I'm sure they do. So, but anyways, so going back to this, you would have to do some OSINT, right? Some, if you don't know what that is, Google it too. Um, and you would have to do some reconnaissance and figure out the IP address. And there's many ways to do that. And then you need to figure out, your target. You need to figure out what they love. Maybe look on LinkedIn and say, hey, what are they posting? If they like plants, and be like, oh, you like plants, huh? Maybe that's your username. I like plants or plants. And so you're gonna probably spend a lot of time. You're gonna build these lists: aunts, uncles, dogs, plants, names, usernames, password. I mean, you're gonna have a blast and build the biggest list you can with this. This is what I would say this would be efficient. I don't know how to use Medusa that much, so it might have combination cracking too, or I'm sorry, dictionary. Well, no, that's what I'm talking about, dictionary. It might have one where it just increments and tries everything, or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, but I don't know. But you that's what I would use this for, right? I would use this in reconnaissance if I'm actually targeting somebody that, or something like that, right? Or if I'm pen testing a target, a company target, if a person, and I'm like, if you've got the IP address of the company user login name, and then you're like, there's huge username and password lists too that you can use, and you can Google those, and maybe they'll work. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do, right? It's really cool. So this basically cracked into my, um, the FTP. But then, see, that's another thing. You have to run a scan. So you have to run a scan to see what ports are open, like Nmap. So and I can run this scan, so I can say Nmap. Man, that's exactly what I want to do. Oh man, that's not gonna work. So Nmap 2168. Right. So this ran an Nmap scan, and it gave me, and this on my Metasploitable, and it gave me all my vulnerable ports, right? And FTP was one of them. So I was like, okay, so now I'm gonna run password, see if I can. So FTP works by username and password, right?
Live long and prosper.
Hell yeah, Spock. And so does Telnet, and so does SSH. So most of these use username and passwords to get logged in through this port, and these ports are communication ports, right? So I ran an Nmap scan on this because I knew that IP address. Well, actually, I'm on the network. That's why, right? So it's gonna give me a scan. But what if I'm not on the network? Right? How do you run that scan? So this is the thing you have to think about. I'm not on this. If I'm trying to find an IP address range, or I'm trying to do an IP address scan with Nmap, and I'm not on their network, I'm just on my network, I need to have the public IP range, because that's that I need to have their door on their castle's IP range, not their private one, because I won't be able to see that. It's in their private. It's safe behind their door. I won't be able to see that. I will only be able to scan for public IP addresses that are accessible to the public, right? I can only see their door from the outside if I'm running a scan. Like if I'm on the outside of the castle, I can't see inside, right? So let's establish that. So then I have to, obviously I have to be on a web on the internet too to run the scan. So I have to have my own internet. So I have to be on the internet, and I have to run the Nmap scan on public IP addresses. Now the thing is, public IP addresses aren't usually going to be this 192.168. This is a private one usually, right? They're going to be different ranges, okay, for the gates of each castle. So now what you're doing is that you're so this is the stuff that you have to think about when you're learning all this stuff. It doesn't mean anything if you don't understand what you would really use. Does that make sense? Like, you're not going to run this Nmap scan unless you're on their network. It's not going to pick up that IP range. I mean, it might. But so what do we do? So let's look at these tools, right? Let's look at. Okay, so now let's say, there's tools like IPLocation.net, right? And you can type in an IP, and then it tells you where it's at in the world, right? That's common sense. I could type in any IP here, and it'll tell me where it's at. But it has to be a public IP, right? Public IP. Or else, because nobody can see your private IP numbers. And so here's another one. So this one is find IP ranges by location, right? So let's say I go to Idaho Falls and I find some IP ranges. This site is awesome. It gives you some IP ranges, tells you how many IPs it's got, and then it tells you what company ISP provider is providing it. Now, this is a reconnaissance tactic, I would say. If you're targeting something specifically and you're outside and you don't know the IP range. Now, these are public IP ranges. This is all access right now. They've got other stuff like mass scan and stuff, but you got to be careful using stuff like that because, first of all, it's illegal to scan. Don't scan any of these IP ranges. Um, it's illegal to do that. It depends on what state and all that. It's illegal to do that without the permission, right? So, but these are tools that hackers would use, and this is tactics that hackers would do, right? So then they would, or whatever. This is something I would do or something, But I mean, I wouldn't do it because it's illegal, but unless I have permission. So let's say your pen testing company says, "Hey, you have permission, but we don't. But just have at it. We're not going to give you the IP ranges or nothing, right? I mean, that would be harder. So then, how would you do it? You'd probably look up the location. You'd probably find out what ISP provider they're using because they're going to have one. You'd have to find all the information you can. You could look it up. You can find the geographical location with this website. And then you'd probably run a scan on all the ranges on this and go from there, right? And then that would give you their castle gate. And then you can scan their castle gate with the Nmap from outside to see if they have any vulnerabilities, right? And if they don't, then you're screwed. Then you have to come to figure out different ways how to get in. But that would be a scanning range tactic, right? And then you got your websites like this in my area where you can put the area and it tells you what ISP companies are in that area, right? Then you can figure out which ISP is what ISP. So let's a provider they have. So CenturyLink and all these other companies are in this area that I put in. And then you would go down here and you would try to find them here and then scan those IP ranges, right? See how these are different? Usually they're not 192 because they're not private ones, they're public. And then public IP addresses, right? And here's the range that they're using, cable 1. I mean, but you can't just go and scan those because you get in trouble. That's illegal, right? But if you were pen testing for somebody, then that would be the way you could probably say, try to find their gate, their servers that are or their routers or whatever they're using to access the internet, right? And then they got firewalls and stuff, so you're gonna run a scan and then you're gonna run into nothing. But that's the whole point of pen testing. Maybe they're not protected. Maybe you do have a solution to that you can hack and then go, look, I did it like this and I got you guys. So this is what I would recommend doing to change it. All right. So anyways, that was just, I like to go off on some stuff because this is stuff that I don't think people talk about too much. And it's common sense, but it's not, right? And because when you start learning about networking and stuff, they're gonna teach you about all that and the limitations of IP4, and then they only have certain amount of IP addresses, and they're gonna teach you that to solve that the companies came up with a protocol that assigns private networks, gives you one IP address for your router, or your server, or whatnot. And then go in your internet service provider and all that. They tell you that, but then they don't. You got to put it together yourself. And then when you're running these scans or running, all these tools for hacking, you're not understanding basically you're not really understanding what you're doing. Like you probably think you can run an Nmap scan with an IP address from the outside of somebody's neighborhood, and then like scan their private IP, right? And obviously you can't because it's their private IP address. You're just going to come up with whatever is on your Wi-Fi network, right? So whatever network you're not on there. So hackers are like, well, I need to get on their network so they can do it. They can do it many different ways. They can do it by hacking their Wi-Fi, and once they're on their Wi-Fi, they're on their network, right? Makes sense. Then they can run a scan of the router, of the device, the private network, all that stuff, right? Because they're on their Wi-Fi, right? Anyways, and stuff like that. So you have to kind of think about whenever you're learning what the practicality of it is, right? You need to see, okay, so what am I learning? Okay, I'm cool. I know how to use these tools, and but how would I actually use them in the real world? And that's kind of how you got to treat everything. That's how you got to treat all training and all learning, right? You can't just learn something and go, I know how to use this tool. I know how to do this. Look at me and all this stuff. You got to kind of actually think about how you would actually really use that in the real world. Whether you're learning how to bake, you're not just going to learn how to bake so you can say, I know how to bake, and then what?
Live long and prosper.
Yeah, you too, Spock. You're learning how to bake so you can go out in the real world and bake. So you can get a job baking, or you can bake for yourself. You're learning martial arts so you can learn how to defend yourself in a real situation, not so you can go and play in some tournaments, or so you can go and just pretend like you know martial arts. You get what I'm saying? So there's different. You got to look at stuff like how you would really use it in the real world, and that's what you need to focus on, right? So those are just little ideas that'll give you some ideas on what we're doing with all this password cracking stuff, because you're not gonna crack nothing if you don't have the proper mindset about how to get that information, right? And then use it. So I could I could know how to use this tool, but I don't know how to actually use the tool, right? And think about that. All right, so then let's go to the next one. This one I kind of talked a little bit about it, but sometimes I feel like this stuff is valuable as well, not just showing um how to use the tools, or how to read the books. I feel that talking about it a little bit too is valuable as well. All right, so we figured this out, and Medusa is awesome. It works. We know how to use it. Let's go to the next one. So Crunch Password Generator. Crunch is a simple password generating tool. We normally use it to generate random usernames and passwords and store them in a file. So this is what I was talking about. It accepts a min and a max length followed by the characters to be included in the word list. Crunch supports the following features: Unicode characters, supports resume of passing generation process, supports numbers and special symbols. It uses both combination permutation ways. It supports lower and uppercase characters. Once you set min and max values, you can set where the crunch will save the file once it generates the word list. So this one will this one's cool because this one you're going to use in reconnaissance. I would say this one's more valuable, right? And then maybe in conjunction with Medusa, because so this one creates your password usernames, and then you can run them with Medusa, right? So Crunch Pass Generator. How do you open that? So let's look at that. Let's see if we can find Crunch Pass Generator. All right, and let's close this. So let's go here and put Crunch. Yeah, so that's probably Crunch. Okay. And I don't know if I've told you this as well, but always read your prompts. That's the basics, I would say. Read your prompts, read your errors. So Crunch version 3.6, Crunch can create a word list based on criteria. Okay, so this is the one. So yeah, it's in here, Crunch. And you can come down here and go like password attacks. There's Crunch right there. You got Hashcat, Hydra, John. I mean, these are all cool, right? Can create a word list based on a criteria specified. The output from the Crunch can be sent to the screen, file, or another program. Uses Crunch min max options, where min and max are numbers. So yeah, okay. Please refer to the main page. Let's see if we can do the MSN. Well, this is gonna. Okay, so let's say Crunch. I guess that's it. Is that the only? Yeah, that's it. This is your usage. That's it. right? Options. What are the options? Crunch options? Oh, please refer to the main page for. Okay, so we can just do man. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Let's just let's see what we could do. So all right. So let's say crunch. Oh, can't spell crunch. And it says min and max. So let's say min 3, max. No, min 2, max 4. Let's just say a 4 password, right? And then we're gonna call this admin. Nah, I'm just gonna call it usernames again. Usernames C for crunch. And then we're gonna pass that to what? Usernames C list ticks. Crunch will now generate the following amount of data. I have no clue what that did. I don't think I did that right. What did I call it? Username C list. Oh crap! I'm not in the right. Man, I just go to the home. Cut that. Paste that here. Okay. Let's see what it generated. So it took variations of that username. Oh, that's how it works. Okay. So let's change that. Let's say I want to create a username with and that can include symbols and stuff. Okay, so let's say Max. You know, this guy loves his dog. His dog's name is Max. And it's Max. I'm gonna say 123. This right? Because I don't know. Let's try. And it's gonna do from start at 2, and it's gonna go to 4 iterations or different. Right. So let's go to. All right. Where did I put it? Oh man, I put it in the home again. Shit. I was gonna replace it. Yeah. So now I started at 2, and there's different iterations like max 2, 3. So, oh man, this thing's awesome. So it just crunches the numbers and it just gives you a bunch of different variations of max 1, 2, 3, up to 4 things, right? So that's awesome. That'll be good because then I could say, this guy's password is, let's just say 8, right? That's gonna take a while. Um, let's just say his. Yeah. So let's just do 4 because I think eight's gonna take too long. And let's say now we want to do the passwords. So let's say we're doing reconnaissance on somebody or in a company or something, and it's called like it's called you know GATS LLC or something, right? We want to do some numbers. We want to do that. We want to do this maybe, right? And then we're gonna call this passwords C, list, whatever, right? Not even okay. So you can't do those apparently. That's gonna create one of those. I like this thing. I mean, you can have fun with this, and you can really do some fun stuff. So let's cut this from here, paste it here. So it came up with GG, whatever, right? Bunch of different stuff, different combinations, and that might help. You never know. Um, Let me try one. Let's try a dog's name. I've been checking this person. Their dog's name is Ginger. See if we can get the password variation. It should have that should be one of the passwords, right? Come here. That's gonna be a big text, no? Because it's 8. Yeah, it's gonna be a big ass text file. It doesn't even want to damn open. It's probably so big. Oh, yeah, it's a huge ass file. See, these are all the different iterations of Ginger 123. I mean, that's fine, but that's just kind of weird because that's just giving me the. So there would be a way to use this. There would be a way to not use that, and I don't think that's the way to use it, right? Because it's just going to give you different iterations of that. So you'd probably, I don't know, but it's pretty cool. So there's Crunch. Let's go see what else we got. Rainbow Crack. Rainbow Crack is a password cracking tool that uses rainbow tables. Rainbow tables are password files that you can download from an online source and then store in your computer storage. To launch Rainbow Crack, open the terminal and enter in the following command: Rainbow Crack, path to Rainbow Table F, path to password hash. Rainbow tables are available in different formats such as NTLMM hashes, MD5. So this is cracking hashes. So note, some Rainbow tables range from 1 gigabyte to larger. So this one's cool. So what a rainbow is, well, I mean, this is cracking hash passwords, but if you know how hash passwords are used, they use this rainbow table. I can't remember, but anyways, it has to do with cracking hashes like MD5 and all that. That's why it's doing this. And so this one's cool if you have a hashed file. Oh, hold on. Rainbow Crack is a password cracker tool that uses rainbow tables. Yep. Rainbow tables are password files that you can download from. Yep. So yeah, and store in computer storage to launch. Okay, so this is using the rainbow tables that are available out there on the net, I guess. Yeah. Oh no, you gotta download the tables. Rainbow Crack. And this is the path to rainbow table. F path to password hash. Oh, so here's the rainbow table. List the rainbow tables. This page lists the rainbow tables we generate and verified to work. Hash cracking rainbow. It's on YouTube. Rainbow tables perform. The two figures below are based on log files. Hash cracking. So this one is probably pretty cool. It's got all the so if you know how, you need to look up how hashing works. That's what you need to do first. If you're gonna mess with Rainbow Crack, I'm not gonna mess with it. I don't have any hashed passwords. So, and I'm not gonna go look for some and download some down. But you need to look how hashing works. How hashing works is it takes your and this is just a quick one. It takes the password and hashes it, so it obfuscates it or encrypts it, but it's not different every time. It's the same. So it'll take your password, your unique password, right? And then it'll use a MD5 or a SHA-1, whatever hashing algorithm it uses, and it'll change the values of it however the algorithm works. And you can actually look into the algorithms of different hashing algorithms, right? And how they work. It's pretty cool. And you can make some in Python and all that. It's all out there. The thing is that it's for password security because it hashes them, right? It's hoping that your password is unique. If you've got a password like love, and you know love one apostrophe, that hash or that rainbow table or whatever whatever they're what it's called, or that hash is going to be out there. It's because somebody already has it, so it's going to be, and that's what I think the rainbow tables are. I can't remember, but I can't be expected to remember everything. No, I'm just kidding. I just look it up and I'll be like, yep, that's what I thought. So basically the it's going to be out there, and then people have these tables that have the most common password hashes used, right? Since they're not going to change if they're the same, right? When you hash it, and then so what happens is the computer checks your password hash against your password and sees if it's matching. Then hey, it hasn't. Then it's the right password, right? It's the right username or whatnot. So that's why we hash. So this one's cracking hashes. So this one is assuming that what you did is you stole a bunch of, or you hacked a company, or you pen tested, let's say that, a company, and you got a hold of their hash tables, right? Because they're hashing their passwords. Like they have some security, and so you just downloaded all their password hashes from their shadow file or wherever the hell their passwords are stored, right? Depending on what operating system it is or whatever. And then you took those hashing data and you ran it through Rainbow Crack, right? Because Rainbow Crack is going to give you access to all the available hashes that are out there. So that's how that works. I'm not going to run it because I don't have a hash table, and I'm not going to look for one. It doesn't provide one. This one actually, I think it does. So this one, this is just a YouTube video on how it works. So you can watch this. Anyways, I don't know if you're gonna watch it. So, all right. So let's go on to the next one. So Johnny, cybersecurity experts and hackers rarely use this tool. The tool is a graphical interface to John the Ripper, and the tool discussed earlier. So John the Ripper, I think, what you can do is, just go in here. Let's see, and mess with John the Ripper. So type in John the Ripper, and there you go. And do it the same way we did all the other ones, right? So read your prompts, read your errors. User share Kali menu helper scripts. This is showing you where the John the Ripper, I think, helper scripts are. Kali menu helper scripts, John S. Create a directory. It's creating a directory. John the Ripper. You know, this shows you how to use it, right? Usage, John, options, password files. You can use help, which I think that's what this is. Single crack mode. You know, this shows you how to use the program, right? There's a tool. And if you're interested in it, go through here and mess with it. Watch some videos on it. Find if you can download some. Here's some more John Helper files, where they're located at. See if you can find some practice files on it, hash files and stuff, because I think this does hash decoding too. I mean, John the Ripper, I think, does a lot of stuff. So yeah, do your own research on it. You know, it's fun. Like I said, I'm not gonna run it on Windows, but you know, something like John the Ripper, you might use it to try to crack hashed Windows files, right? Or you know, you might try to use it to crack Windows passwords that are not hashed. I don't know. I don't, you know, this got to be hashed, right? So you can try to crack them, but I think that's what it does. So you got to Google it, see what more information you can get on Jack the Ripper. All right, the secret to mastering these tools and any aspect of cybersecurity or hacking, for the matter, is to practice using them as often as possible, so you can internalize how each tool effectively. The next part of the guide looks at various post-exploitation tools in Kali Linux. So for the next video, we'll do post-exploitation, and this is when you obviously when you get in. I mean, after you've exploited, once you've compromised and gained access to the computer system, the next task is usually to maintain access to the system. So you're setting up a backdoor or something, right? And this one, we're gonna go through this one too. So we're almost done with this book. I haven't touched it in a year, but I like it. It's a good book, and it kind of opens up your mind to how you would use this in a pen testing situation, or a legal or ethical situation, or in a bad situation. You know, you can't think only you know, how the good guys think. You know, sometimes you got to think how the bad guys are thinking. That's how you stop them, if you want to stop them, right? That was Hack the File, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I did. I enjoyed doing it. Nick, I think I'm gonna do another video on this next week, right? Because I'm gonna try to finish this book too. I'm getting close to the end of this book and the ethical hacking book, and I am learning a tremendous amount. I want to go through, after I finish these two, I want to go through and do this Kali Linux penetration testing Bible. And you know, the more you learn, you know, and we keep going and going and going, the more cool stuff we can probably do, right? and the more we'll understand how to use what tools where and all that. And I mean, there's a like my famous saying is, I love this saying, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. You can go for your OSCP certification and all that if you go to, you take all these, try hack me and all this other server stuff, um, and you practice doing that. Or maybe you can get it just by like practicing for a year or two on different books and setting up VMs and hacking them like that, and then using your own creativity and know how to do something. Because like I said, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. So there's not only one way to do something. There's many ways, and that's why I kind of like that OSCP certification and all that stuff. They're expecting you to have the one way answer. I don't know. Maybe you can have two, three different ways to get the same answer. So many ways to skin a cat, and but yeah. So we're gonna keep going on these penetration testing books or whatever, and I think the next one's gonna be this Kali Linux penetration testing Bible. All right, that was Hack the File. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.